Today, the Mercury Marine destination takes us up to Georgian Bay in central Ontario. Muskie are the target today, and with these fish, known as the fish of 10,000 casts, every fish is a great fish. Heavy-duty rods and reels are important for big fish and large lures, and a wide selection of colors are vital to dial in on what grabs their attention. Nothing is left to chance, and everything is double-checked for these hard fighters. Tools and equipment need to be ready, and even some items can be like having an extra person on board. Get it right, and the rewards can be fantastic. Blades for Georgian Bay Muskie this week on Fishful Thinking. Fishful Thinking is brought to you by Mercury Marine, Crestliner Boats, Minn Kota Trolling Motors, and Ram Trucks, built to serve. Water conditions are brought to you by Humminbird Fish Finders. Get the big picture. Big open waters can blow up fast, but you can be more comfortable. Smooth out your ride with Smooth Move's shock-absorbing seat suspensions.
All right, let me get away from that bank. Let me put my Minn Kota Altera on spot lock. Just remember that prop's going to be turning now. Nice little muskie. They're so much fun. Let me bring you a nice little guy. So much fun. There you go. You're in. Now I'm going to be real quick with this guy. Give myself some line. Pliers are up here. Nice little fella. Any muskie's a good muskie, let me tell you. But it's all about boat control. Let me hold you down. Pin out my bucktail. Wow, did you ever have that in there? Let go of my blades. I think you're free. There we go. There we go. Nice little guy to start her off with. Like I said, any muskie is a good muskie. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And it hits so hard. Let me see if I can grab your tail. Oh, I don't need to. There you go. Beautiful. Always love getting the scent on the lure too, because now it smells more natural. But check that leader. Check your hooks. I'm going to resharpen that all again. This 130-pound test Seaguar fluorocarbon. I love it as a leader material. Sometimes you get the odd nick on it and you have to replace it, but not even a nick on that. Beautiful. Now what I did, I hooked that fish. I didn't want to blow into the bank. My Minn Kota has spot lock on it. It's an anchoring system. I just hit the little anchor symbol on this, and you can see what it's doing. It's holding me like I'm anchored into the bottom. It's a beautiful system with this. I've got the talon on the back for shallow water if I want to sit in a spot. When I'm in deeper water, I've got the spot lock here. It'll hold me on the same spot. But you folks have heard me talk about the Minn Kota Altera before. Now the Altera, great features, like I said, spot lock, it tracks your roots, but it's got a power trim. I can go up to any depth, down to any depth. It's got auto stow. Beautiful if you've got a motor you want to put in a spot that is an awkward position, or if you're just tired of lifting the motors back and forth, and it's got an automatic deploy. that is slick. This is my favorite all-time Minn Kota motor. And it has a memory. It goes exactly back to where you had it at the depth setting. So again, I'm going to spot lock myself here. It does it automatically. It's going to save that spot exactly. It might give a little burst to keep you in that spot. Boat's going to swing and it's going to hold you perfectly, but we get reset back up again. That was too much fun to do at once. You know, I don't even need to retie this. There's not even a nick in that, but I've had so many people ask me, how do you tie a 130-pound test cigar fluorocarbon muskie and pike leader? They can't tighten the knots. Do you have to crimp it? What do you do? It's actually easier than you think. You just can't overthink this. I'm going to retie this just to show you what I'm doing. All I do is a 2-wrap clinch. So in I go, 1 wrap, 2 wraps, back through. That's it. And that's why people, I think, are having problems with this. It seems too easy that it's not going to stay. The big trick with this, though, is grab a pair of pliers, tighten that tag end, and that's still not enough. And I always use another piece of 130 so I don't cut my hands, about a foot-long piece. I put it through one of the eyelets just so I've got something to hold on to when I tighten that knot, and so I don't drive a hook into my hand. Wet the knot, and you're going to see this when you pull that real tight, that cinches right down, and that tag end shoots up at a 90-degree angle. Trust me, I've never had this ever slip. That is perfect. Trim the knot, and you're good for the next possible week of fishing. This stuff is so good. But the real trick is just 2 wraps. Make sure it's pulled tight. It's got to cinch right down, and you'll see that tag end of that leader. Instead of laying a little limp, it just goes and shoots straight out. Now it's as tight as it can be. And like I said, I've never had this slip in 15 years of doing this.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Mercury, power and dependability you can count on.
Muskies are a lot of fun, and they get big, and I've seen a lot bigger than the ones I've caught already. You have to be prepared. Now, it's one thing when you're using a braided line that far exceeds your leader. Your knots don't have to be exact. If your knot is 70% of its breaking strength, it's still okay if you're using 50-pound braid and a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader. But when I'm using a 130-pound test cigar, an 80-pound braid, now my braid is the weakest connection, and so is that knot. And one of the best knots you can do with any braided line, I'm going to cut my swivel off, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing. It's a Palomar knot. Palomar knot is so simple, you wouldn't think it should be as strong as it is, but it's one of the best knots for braided line. Double your line, insert through an overhand knot, just one loop, just an overhand loop. Now with that loop that's in your folded over line, drop your swivel through, or your lure, or your whole leader. Pop that through, grab the tag end and your main line, wet it, pull it tight, one, then the other. If it doesn't cinch up nice and tight, there it goes, you'll feel it pop, and you'll have a real nice tight little knot. Trim that tag end, and it's actually, when you think about it, you've doubled your line, so it's a really strong knot, and it's a real simple knot to do. Now, just so you can see it a little clearer what I'm doing, picture this is my line, picture this is my my swivel or my leader. I've taken my line, I'm doubling it, I'm putting it through. Easier said than done with this thick rope. But there we go. Now you're just going to take that, make an overhand loop like this, tuck it back through, and with that loop in your line right there, you're going to put your swivel or your hook or whatever through. Make sure that loop is over the knot or over the end of your hook or your swivel, and you're going to start pulling everything nice and tight. Now it's not, well, actually it did tighten up pretty nice even with this heavy stuff. There's a monster knot on a monster line, but even on that thick stuff, it's cinched up nice and tight. But on the actual swivel, you can see how nice and clean and tight that little knot is. And that way you've got the strongest knot possible on your braided line.
Conditions today are brought to you by Revo Sunglasses. See what others don't.
All right, got my spot lock on again, and like I said, be aware that prop is turning. All right, buddy, where are you? There we go, round we go, round we go. Sometimes I find when I just take my time with them and not pull too hard, they don't panic too bad. And, no, you're not ready yet. Oh, yeah, there you are. Free spool a little bit of line, and you come again. Another real nice fish. Now that spot lock on my Minn Kota Altera holding me perfect. I don't have to worry about blowing into the rocky shoreline. Beautiful fish. That's a nice muskie. All right, buddy, hold you down so I don't get a hook in my hand. Best I can anyway. See where you're hooked. And if you have to, cut hooks out of a fish to save a muskie. Hooks are cheap. But I think sometimes it's just getting a different angle at that hook. There it is. Pop, pop. So much fun. You just got to put a little bit of time in, use the right lures, the right equipment. This Daiwa Alexa 400 is a beautiful reel for muskie fishing. Be prepared. Have the right leaders. Oh, you gonna go? There you go. I was quick with them. Going right into the wind. And I'll keep my eye on him. He's right. I'd rather let them go as fast as possible. You can see him going right into the waves here. I'll get in the oxygen. As long as he's upright, he's fine. If he rolls on the side, you got to go get him and revive him. Maybe I'll go get him. I think he's going to be gone before I get to him. Watch this. Just the presence of the boat. There he goes. Awesome. Okay, I'll spot lock it again while I clean this mess up. And again, like I did on that other fish, even though I didn't need to tie on another leader and retie it, I just did that to show how to do a leader. I always check them. I have great faith in this 130 Seagar. Not a nick, but I'll tell you what you do need to do after every fish. The mouth of those big pike and muskie are so bony. Sharpen the hook after every fish. And by sharpening, I like doing what I'll call a triangulate. See, I'm not even testing to see if they're sharp. I know they're gonna need it because of the bony mouth. Get the burr from underneath. 1, two, and the third. And then think of it as a triangle. A little bit from the top, just hard enough to feel it grip metal. A couple from the side, a couple from the other side. Not so hard that if you miss, you're gonna cut yourself wide open. But you just want to get that point back on them again. Because sometimes with these muskies, you don't have much of a chance. First hook set, you want to make sure the hook's in. Rebend a lure, see if I get another one. Oh, wow, that was quick. That one just swam right at the boat into the net. I've already got the hooks out. They fell out as soon as it got in the net. Finally got one of the larger ones that didn't fall off on me. But that's muskie fishing. Like I said earlier, I had a couple of real doozers on. They just fall off. Had a couple of great follows. And then you get lucky. Look at this fella. Beautiful. Get my gloves on, buddy. I'm glad the hooks are already out of the net. Same lure has been hitting every fish. Incredible. That I'm gonna have to get a few more of. Already put my spot lock back on so I don't blow. Thank you, Minn Kota. I'll be quick with you, buddy. You're a beautiful fish. And, oh, I can't grip you. Good old muskies. I love them to death. Sometimes they drive you nuts, and sometimes it makes your day. Oh, look at that. That is just a beautiful fish. Awesome. It was sunny the other day. Today's miserable. Oh, isn't this just awesome? I love these fish. Look how thick they are. Okay, buddy. Get you back. I'm gonna grab their tail so you don't swim away on me. Keep their balance. Yeah, gorgeous fish. Gorgeous fish. You know, in the category of worth its weight in gold, that Minn Kota Altero, that spot lock, I don't have to worry about drifting to shore when I'm doing this. It's like having another person in the boat. There you go, buddy. Wow. Awesome. You know, one of the biggest, greatest tools you can have, aside from the right equipment. I love my Daiwa rods. I love my Daiwa reels. This Lexa 400 is a beautiful muskie reel. The right line, the right leaders. You gotta have the right net or they just don't fit in those small ones. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Well, let's set up again. Might get lucky. Fishing with 10,000 casts. So far I've been lucky. You know what? That fish popped back up again. I went and netted him. This muskie-sized live well in this crestliner fish hawk saved that muskie. Netted him, put him back in here. I pumped him full of oxygen, held him upright so he could keep his balance. As soon as he stayed upright and swimming and struggling on his own, I torpedoed him in. I watched him go down about 6 feet with these glasses on. He hesitated, pumped the tail twice, stayed upright, and he hasn't come back up. Spend the time with a nice muskie. They're a treasure. And whether it be a big net that you keep the fish revived in, or if you have the opportunity for a big well like this, this is something they do in Lake St. Clair too. You revive them in the live well, pump them full of oxygen. Save that fish. Awesome.
Fishful Thinking is brought to you by Mercury Marine, Viking Rain Gear, Seagar Muskie and Pike Leader, and Ram Trucks, built to serve. Tackle today heavy-duty Daiwa Lexa 400 reels with power handle. 80-pound Test Seagar Threadlock high-impact braided lines. Daiwa 8.5-foot DXM musky rods. Seagar Abrasics 100% fluorocarbon musky and pike leaders. Double-bladed spinners by Muskie Factory Baits. Mustad Fast Hatch, part of the Fast Hatch system for quick connections. Viking cut-resistant NBR palm-coated gloves. 100% protection from UV, A, B, and C light with Revo sunglasses. Minn Kota Altera with spot lock and auto stow and deploy features. Viking 100% waterproof jackets, pants, and bibs. The Minn Kota Talon 15-foot anchoring system with auto up and down. And the Mercury 200 horsepower V6 4-stroke outboard motor.
Looks like a good fish, Charlie.
Couple of good head shakes, and then here he comes up. Oh! Did you see that?
Oh, look at the size of the head on this, Charlie. That is an old. That's an old fish.
That's a gorgeous fish.
Yeah.